Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. On today's show, we're talking about solar energy. Let me be clear. I want solar energy to work. I've got solar panels on both of my sailboats, and I love the idea of getting energy for free. But if solar energy is going to take hold on a large scale, it's got to be because it makes financial sense for all the stakeholders, including consumers of electricity, in order to make the investment. Starting January 1st of this year, all newly constructed homes and low-rise apartment buildings in California are required to have rooftop solar panels. The state is the first in the nation to carry such a mandate. Prior to enactment of the law, about 1 in 5 new homes came equipped with some form of solar energy supplement. All new building permits in 2020 and beyond are going to require it. The law also requires better insulation, better air filtration for new homes. Some areas are also seeing mandates on the use of natural gas. For example, in the Bay Area, many of the communities will not be permitted to install gas appliances, or they're going to have to be much more energy efficient in order to be permitted to have gas appliances. The rules for energy use are intended to help alleviate the state's greenhouse gas emissions. The new laws apply only to newly constructed homes. And to comply, some home builders are buying rooftop solar panels to install or lease them from solar providers. The California Energy Commission estimates that the solar mandate and the additional building code changes could add between $8,500 and $9,500 per home in construction costs. But they say the changes will save homeowners about $19,000 in energy costs and maintenance costs over 30 years. Now, from my perspective, that's an optimistic view. The solar contractors I've contacted estimate the savings to be closer to $35 a month per home. If $19,000 over 30 years is the savings, that's closer to $55 a month. And if all you're getting back is $35 a month in savings, we're talking about a 22-year payback on the solar installation. Now, I don't know about you, but these solar systems have not been tested to a 22-year life. And if they don't last beyond 22 years without maintenance or repairs, then it's likely that the solar installations will never fully return their initial investment. The California Building Industry Association estimates the new mandates are going to cost somewhere between $8,000 and $13,500 to the cost of a new home. And it says those costs will be passed on to home buyers. The California Energy Commission says that 26% of the state's greenhouse gas emissions come from buildings. And there's no way for them to meet their carbon or clean energy goals without electrifying the building sector. Many states have implemented financial incentives to sell power back to the electric utility at favorable rates. These rates are often higher than the cost of producing electricity using conventional power generation, and they're certainly higher than the price of electricity at the retail level. Now, most utilities, including California, have recently switched from buying power at peak rates to a method called net metering. So let's say that your home generates more electricity than you use in a year. Will the utility actually write you a check? The answer is no. In general, some of the power that you sell back to the utility, you'll get it back later in the year in the form of a rebate. In general, most homes produce extra power in the summer months, and they will use more electricity from the power utility in the winter. And because these variations in production are fairly predictable, the utility is not going to send you a monthly check when you produce more than you need. Instead, they're going to give you a credit for that during the summer months so you can draw it from them at night and during the winter months when you need them. With the right design, you can generate enough power to match most of your electric use for the year. Net metering means that you can offset your power bill but not eliminate it. The problem is that the economics don't support solar on its own merits. The cost of electricity from your utility is driven by two major costs. The first is the variable cost. That is the cost associated with producing an incremental kilowatt hour of electricity. If you're burning natural gas to produce that electricity, then the cost of the fuel is the variable cost. The bigger cost is the cost of the infrastructure required to produce and distribute the power. The power system provided by the utility is designed to handle peak power demand, not the average. And so solar power systems only produce electricity that lowers the average consumption, but it doesn't help the peak. So you don't get a more efficient power system. You're only adding cost to the system. You don't get to turn off any power generators. The utility doesn't get to reduce any transmission lines. That fixed cost, which is the vast majority of your electric bill, doesn't change. And so that's why solar systems don't work when connected to the electric grid. Lowering consumption only lowers the revenue to the utility, but it doesn't actually lower the cost. With our system of metering, you pay for the electricity you use. You're not paying for the actual cost of the utility system. The problem is that politicians in this instance are pandering to an idealistic notion that is not borne out in reality, and because they don't understand the economics of how the electric system works. If they could shut down a power plant or retire some transmission infrastructure, they could save some real money and reduce pollution on a large scale. But since the networks have to supply energy at nighttime and in the winter, when the solar systems can't contribute, the savings are minimal at best. This particular investor is trying to find a way to make solar systems a no-brainer decision, but until that happens, unfortunately, we're going to be stuck with conventional power for many, many years to come. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.